It's 1035 The Beat. It's your boy Tony MC. You already know who this is, but right next to me is the big homie, Eddie eMIX Hernandez. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's good? What's good? Pleasure.
Everything good? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you up here,
Pleasure
bro.
to be
I know
here.
it's been a long time coming.
For sure.
And you got a lot to talk about. So, I know
sure.
this conversation is going to be amazing, man. You've been in the industry for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of things going on. But I want to kind of take it back to the beginning, man. Like, how did you get started in the music industry?
Starting in the music industry, basically, I went to Full Sail in Orlando.
Shout out to Full Sail.
I got a whole story there that got me there. But after I left there, I started at Audiovision Studios in North Miami.
Okay, dope. Shout out to Audiovision.
No, big shout out to them. I mean, they really gave me a shot. And I really cut my teeth there, just like, figuring it out. I met Disco Rick there, which he was the studio manager.
All right. Shout out Disco Rick, man.
And
a
Disco,
legend.
100% legend. Go do your homework.
Yes, sir. Do
Wiggle,
your Googles.
Your mama on crack rock, been doing it for a long time. So
Yes, sir.
Disco Rick was there, and I think that was very key in my development just because, Disco had been in the industry. Disco was an artist, but Disco was also an executive. He was also an engineer that people don't know. And so he was teaching me the game. He taught me the ins and outs of how to deal with clients, deal with studio politics and everything like that, and how to navigate the industry. So that was paramount. From there, my first big break was at Audiovision, booked by Disco Rick. It was Ludacris, Stand Up.
Okay.
When I Move, You Move.
Oh, that was your first placement?
That was my first
wow.
major
Historic.
record. Yeah.
Historic.
And that ended up getting Grammy nominated, went multi-platinum. And so I hit the ground running kind of. That was definitely what it was a funny situation because it was also a harsh reality that there's a lot more grinding to do because I was still technically an intern. And so I got like maybe $10 an hour for it. It was like a 4-hour session.
So you were an intern and you had like one of the biggest hits at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I got paid like $40, man, and I'm Grammy nominated now.
Damn.
And I remember it almost was kind of like a situation where I was like, man, this might not work out. But again, shout out to Disco. Disco was the one who said, hey, man, now you got something to sell yourself with. Now you got a record that people recognize. It's on the radio. And when they say, hey, what have you done? I've done this record. And I did. I built off of that. And clients started coming in.
How did you move? Like, what did you do after that?
Well, after that, again, because I built off that, I started getting more clientele, higher end clientele. Ghostface Killer, Method Man, a lot of the Wu-Tang for some reason. Raekwon, Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then because of the Disco Rick connect and because his connection with the Miami sound, he ended up opening his own studio and made me his head engineer there. And from there, we started immediately working on Uncle Luke's album, which ended up being his final project.
Wow.
And so that was the opening to everything because what happened was the word got out in the city that Uncle Luke's working on his last album. And so everybody in the city wanted to be a part of it. And so because of that, I had Trick Daddy, and this is Trick in his prime. This is primetime Trick Daddy, primetime Trina.
So what was that like? Maybe like late 90s, like early 2000s?
This is about 2004, 2005.
Okay, mid 2000s.
Like 2005-ish.
Okay.
And And I'm talking about everybody that was doing something. So working on that, everybody would come in there and know me as Luke's guy. So already I got kind of like a cosign without him having to say anything because they just saw me in the booth. I'm the guy handling all this at the boards and stuff like that. So then immediately I went into working with Trick. Trick liked how I worked, and then I started working on Trick's album, which was the Thug Matrimony album.
Right.
That was a huge album. That was like
huge album.
Let's Go and all that was on there.
Yeah.
And
that just celebrated the 20th anniversary not too long
Is
ago,
it?
right? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No, hey man, every once in a while, and when I hear that, it bugs me out. But then also, why that's a pivotal moment in my career was because I met a young artist doing mixtapes at the time. He was on his final mixtape, but he wasn't really out there. He was writing for Trina. He was over there at Slip and Slide by the name of Rick Ross.
Yes, sir.
And
Ricky Rose.
He came in there, did a feature, and same thing. Me and him hit it off. We became buddies. And then from, he would call on me, hey, I need to record this. I need to get this done. And then that's when that relationship kind of started.
Man, so that's literally like 2 decades in the making right now.
Yeah.
And you guys have worked on so much music since then.
Yes, definitely.
Man.
Definitely.
So, talk about that a little bit. Like, working with Ross and basically being there for like some of his biggest musical moments, right?
100%.
Like in the studio. So,
100%.
talk about some of those favorite moments that you have with him.
Well, it was funny because in the beginning, again, I was still working with Trick. So I was part of the Donk Riders and all that.
Right.
What happened was I met Ross doing the mixtapes, and then he got the deal. Hustling was already starting to bubble, and he got missing. Not missing because he was on the road. He was promoting this record. He was going crazy with it. And so I didn't see him for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
And then it was time to shoot the video. And that was the first time. We were all over there by the Carol Mart when he was shooting the Hustling video. And so, I went into his trailer and everything,
Right.
said what's up to him, congratulated him. I said, man, look at this. What a production. Because, back then, especially, now videos are a lot more guerrilla with iPhones, small cameras.
Right.
This was a full-on, big cameras,
Film movie
cranes,
production.
like a movie production.
Yeah.
Trailers all over, craft services. Like, this was a full-on. So we were bugging out because the last time I saw him, we're in the trenches. We're still working. And then here you are, like, full fruition. So really what ended up happening is I didn't really start working on anything of his until Trilla, where I was an assistant for Ray C, which Ray C's another mentor of mine that kind of really taught me the game on the engineer level. Ray C was doing all the slip and slide, anything slip and slide, but then also T.I., the early Cash Money stuff. He's a mixer.
Okay.
And do your research. Ray
Right.
C is a part of the Miami sound. He also came up under Luke. He did Scarred. He mixed Scarred.
Oh, okay, dope.
And so I was, blessed to be a part of his team for a while and kind of learn under him and get a mentorship with him. So he was mixing Ross's album. And I got to do I remember it was like the big thing. I got to do the clean version. That was like big for Boss.
Okay.
The T-Pain record
Right.
on Trilla. And so Ross ended up coming in, and I remember telling Ross, I said, hey, man, next project, man, I need to be all over this record. I need to be all over the project. I want to be there from beginning to end. So he's like, yeah, no, we're going to do it. Time passes. He's gone again.
He's busy.
I ended up bumping into him at Circle House. Shout out to BB. And
Shout out to BB, man.
And Ross and Khaled came into the studio. I was there with Ray C, as a matter of fact, in another session. And Ross was like, hey, man, I need an engineer, man. I need somebody, because I just got a guy pressing record. It's all just everywhere.
Right.
I need somebody to, get my stuff all organized. And at the time, I was actually questioning my involvement in this industry because, it's a hard game.
It is, yeah. It's tough.
And the money's, you're waiting on POs and
stable.
things like that. And so, honestly, I was actually kind of doing the math. Like, he only needs me for 2 weeks. I could charge this, boom, boom, boom. With that money, I can kind of move on. Which ends up, I go up there for 2 weeks. He loves what I did, music-wise. He's got all, the soundings, everything is dope. And he's like, nah, I need you. I need you full-time. And then we ended up moving forward. That album became Deeper Than Rap.
Right.
And that was my first project, being a full-on head engineer of the full project, you know what I mean, from top to bottom. From inception of lyrics to recording them, to editing them, to mixing them, to sending it out to the world.
And that was a really good project, man. So, like, be proud of yourself for that.
No, 100%. It's definitely a classic. It was funny because it was so early that I didn't even want to listen to it because I don't know why, it was my learning experience, And then later on, I have friends, man, that they'll kind of like sneak it on me, Now I can hear it, because they'll play it in the car and I'll be like, this album is dope, like,
Yeah.
But it was so personal to me at the time, and the grind was so real that I was like, I just want to like move on.
Well, personally, because you were there. Like,
Yeah.
You made it. Like, you heard it after it was done.
Yeah.
Like, you made sure there was legit. So, like, it's not like you needed to hear it again, but like, now it's kind of like, all right, I feel comfortable listening to it.
Yeah, I'm removed enough from it that I don't, that now I could appreciate it like you guys appreciate it.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because me, I hear it and it's work and it's like, oh, I remember that day and that edit and things like that. And so I'm not even enjoying the music. I'm just literally back there at that time.
Right, man.
So no, over time, man, it's been amazing. And then, just moving forward from there, that was a big moment. We had the whole thing going on with the dude up north and all that. And a lot of pressure was on us to kind of show and prove. A lot of people were doubting us and stuff like that. So that album did it. We overcame all of that. And then following behind that, we had the he's a gangster. What's his name? Man, I'm having a brain fart on all my projects here. The Albert Anastasia project.
Anastasia, yeah.
On that, we had BMF and we had MC Hammer, which was featuring Ghost on the whatchamacallit, Styles P on BMF and Gucci Mane on. So we were talking with a lot of industry people, and they were like, "You can't put these on a mixtape. You can't put these on a mixtape."
Because they're not good.
We're having big arguments, and then Ross ended up doing it anyway. He's like, "I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing." And then we put it out. I remember we dropped it. Well, rewind a little bit. We're doing the mixtape, and Ross comes in out of town. He's like, "We got this one song finished to do, which is BMF." And he came in, but he had been performing, so his throat was done. And so we tried to give it a go, but he was literally like this. It was like done.
Yeah,
so he was trying to drink tea. We did the whole thing, and then consensus was it was like, hey, take a nap, go to sleep. He had to fly out in the morning, about 6 a.m. So he's like, just crash at the studio, and I'm gonna come downstairs and we're gonna knock this thing out before I fly out. So he comes back down in the morning, and it's still not good.
Not good.
And he's got to fly out.
Yeah.
Literally, the team is packing him up. They're saying, "Hey, we got 15 minutes." They keep coming in the studio, and then we noticed he kept on giving it a go, and at some point we noticed that when he kind of like yelled it, he could kind of break through that rasp.
Yeah.
And so literally it was like, "That's it. Hey, we just got to do that."
Yeah.
So he literally pretty much one-taked it just at the top of his lungs.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's what kind of gave it that energy when you hear the record.
Yeah.
Because he's really barking that thing out. His throat is done.
Wow.
And so he like literally finished the recording, and he's like, we good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we have to be good.
We gonna make it work."
And he jumped on a plane, man. And then I remember kind of doing the rough mix on it, sending it to him. He heard it in Atlanta, and the first thing he tells me, he's like, "I don't know, I don't like all those. Take them delays off." Because I had to do that. I think I'm big, Meech.
Yeah.
Hoover. And then he calls me like 5 minutes later and says, no, keep the delays on there. It's got a vibe. So then I run to Audio Vision Studios because I have to master the whole mixtape.
Yeah.
Because shout out to Lex Promo.
Shout out to Lex.
Lex was going to collect the master CD that I made so he could print them up. This is back when we still did physicals.
Yeah.
And so we had if we were going to make it by Memorial Day weekend, we had to print them up today. I think it was a Wednesday, so we wanted to drop it on Thursday. We drop it on Thursday. And I think Friday we go to the club, and we in the club, and they play BMF for the first time, and already it's different. Already, like I remember, I'm even getting goosebumps now. I remember kind of looking at certain guys in the team, like making eye contact across the club, like, "Yo, this is a different type of response. They don't even know the record. How are they getting this hype for it?"
Yeah.
You've been in music long enough. When it's a new record, I mean, literally, I went to, I remember Wyclef had the Carnival, and he had Destiny's Child's there.
Yeah.
And they did Bills like early.
Oh, wow.
And they were one of the early acts, and nobody responded. The end of that year, it became the biggest record.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest records.
So I've seen it where we understand that it's a new record, the people don't know it, you're going to get a lukewarm response. But this was different. We're talking about it just dropped Thursday. Friday, the crowd is already kind of getting into it. Sunday, we do Best of the Best. Sunday, right when they heard that drum, it dun, 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 the people started jumping up. And then we really got it again. We all looked at each other like, we got one. We got one. This is going on the album. We got to put this onto the album. And so my bad for hitting that. So the momentum of that went right into the album, and the album just went crazy. And then again, we had a little bit of everything. We had that street. We had the pretty records for the ladies and all that. So that was like a complete project. And and then we project.
Yeah, man. Project after project, man. I feel like you've been working for Ross like ever since, like just like coming out with hit after hit. Recently, I know you worked on For the Money, right?
For the Money, yes.
Yeah. That's his new record that's out right now. Talk about working on that record.
That record, well, it's funny. I didn't do too much on that record.
Oh, okay.
I mixed it. I co-mixed it.
Right.
Because they called me in just to kind of maintain Ross's sound. That's the thing. I've been, me and Ross have never really like split per se, but I did start working independent, started doing my own thing, got my own company.
Right.
And so usually Ross kind of taps me on the back end, like as far as like, hey, I got these songs we need mixed. You know, I need you to bring me the sound. Like he doesn't need me there day to day to record them as much anymore. So with that record, that's kind of what happened. They kind of thought that, you know, it'd be handled. It was a Pharrell's guy and all that. And I was like, cool, man. Yeah, he's more than capable, you know, his mixer. And then Ross called me and was like, man, he ain't got that. I need that sound. And so it's always humbling and it's always cool, especially when you got top tier guys working on projects and still, you know, your guys come looking for you and say, it ain't ready until, you know, you're a part of this. And so that's what happened. And it was a little pressure on me. You know, there's Pharrell involved. There's a lot of
big players,
big names in there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but I took it as an opportunity as well to kind of just, you know, and that's the thing about this game in general. You know, all these opportunities, even when they got you like questioning yourself and all that, they're opportunities because if you can pull them off, then it just raises the myth, the legend a little higher. Like, oh, yo, eMIX came in there and got us right.
Hey, man.
And so
that's a blessing in itself, bro.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, so that's what it was. And I was just happy that everybody was happy with it and everybody put their ears on it. And again, Pharrell had to listen to it and say, yeah, no, that's it. Ross loved it. And it's a dope record. I mean, we actually came here a couple months ago and we were promo on it.
Man, I wasn't here. I wasn't in town that time. But I heard it was lit when as soon as they started playing on the radio, like everybody was.
You know, we honestly missed that, man. That we don't artists don't do it as much. They don't do radio and they don't come in and stuff. So you know, it's something that we've done since back then.
Of course, man.
And so it's almost natural for us to come in and just see people face to face.
Exactly.
So that was all cool, and that was that record there. And and now we're working on his next project.
Of course, man.
And so now I am more involved because of that record. It got the conversation started where it was like, E, you need to just, I need you here from the beginning. And so we're back in the studio. I'm getting them off that yacht from time to time and getting them in that studio.
That's what's up, man.
And that's that energy that we've had since day one, and it feels good. It's nice to come in there and just bounce ideas and like literally before there's a word on the page, and just, that's a great idea. And then we just kind of go off there and then record it, like I said, edit it, and then we give it to the world, man. So we're back to that.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So a couple things, man. So first of all, like, you got the For the Money record. That's the only version, right? Like I heard there's like other versions out there.
We're working on the remix now. We got a couple people that we're just waiting on responses from. A couple people got it, and we're waiting on verses. It's almost like who's gonna send the verse first. But yeah, that's in the works, definitely.
That's what's up. Yeah, I hear I get an international sound with that.
Definitely.
So like I'm assuming for the remix, you're gonna reach out to international people.
100%, definitely.
So, I'm not going to give nothing away or,
whatever. Right. And neither am I.
Yeah, I feel you. But I have a feeling that it's going to be on a global scale for that remix.
Definitely.
For sure.
It's coming soon, too.
That's what's up, man. And then, obviously with the project, man, like, it's been a minute since Ross released, like a major project.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Richer Than I Ever Been was the last project.
Was the last project.
Yeah, and then the collab album with Meek. But I'm talking about solo records. So...
Yeah.
From what you could tell us, like, what's the vibe for this album? Like, what's the direction that Ross is going in?
Again, the conversation that kind of came up was just, getting that energy back in the studio, getting that essence that we always had in there, the energy, the excitement, kind of bringing back that sound from the crib,
Dope.
Trying to go Miami, trying to represent 305. There's kind of been a void down here. That's been a conversation that's been going on for a while as far as like who's the next one. So, and I'll quote myself. I don't want to put this on Ross, but I told Ross, I said, man, it's kind of like, you sat on the throne so long. You were given space for, the newer cast to come in, and it's almost like they haven't taken it. So I kind of told him it's time for you to just show them, oh, you don't want it? All right, well, we're just going to show you what to do with it. Word. And so that's the attitude I keep pumping in his head, bringing, like, hey, we're going to come here and we're going to take this back and we're going to make a real big statement. And not just for him and not just for me, but for the crib.
Right.
For Miami, for 305, for Dade County. That's the energy behind everything we're doing right now.
That's what's up, man. Now, outside of Ross, like, you work with so many different other artists, man. Like, one of them that, I've been seeing you really working heavily with is Gucci Mane.
Yeah.
And that relationship, I feel, is kind of similar in the same, space as Ross. You know what I mean? It's 10 years plus type of shit.
Yeah.
So talk about that, like, working with Gucci and, how you got tapped in with him.
Well, Gucci is, on honestly, you're right. They're very, very similar because they're very goal-driven, business-driven. They're not trying to waste no time.
Right.
They're both early risers. They both write. They both, by the time you get to the studio, they got all their stuff ready. They're honestly, they're waiting for you now. It's like, get the mic up. I'm ready to knock this out. I met Gucci, right after, maybe a year after he got out, and he was in Atlanta, and he moved down here. And, he was kind of like just setting up shop down here, didn't really know too many people, and was kind of... So I got called in by my brother, Ben Billions.
Word, shout out to Ben Billions, man.
Big-time producer,
Yes, sir.
killing the game, been doing it for a long time. He's really like... Me and him are pretty much peers as far as we've been doing it about the same time. So I love to big up Ben because me and Ben have shared many award story together. And we've worked on many projects together between Ross and Khaled. And so Ben was called out to kind of just play beats for Gucci, and it was like, hey, he needs an engineer. You down to do it? And at the time, I was like, it was literally a day where I was like not doing anything. So I was like, of course, fine, yeah, why not? And so I went in there, and we did the session. It was cool, and I guess even I didn't think I did anything amazing, but I made enough of an impact where he's like, let me get your number, man. I'm finishing up my project, and. Literally called me the next day. We scheduled a session, and this is crazy. And this is kind of like what set the tone for me and him was the next session that we did for his project. 3 of the songs we recorded was Curve with The Weeknd, which went gold. But then the next 2 are gonna bug you out. The next 2 records were I Get the Bag and oh no, I'm having a brain fart. I gotta set you up for the big record. This is record number 2. No. That was with the 2 records because then I had another huge record with him coming up.
Oh, okay.
But those 2 records.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. It's coming up. It's coming up.
All right.
But Curve with The Weeknd and I Get the Bag with the Migos,
man,
were our first 2 records that we did that day. And from that point on, I think he was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. This could work.
Yeah.
And I Get the Bag now has gone, I think, 6 times platinum or something like that.
Crazy.
And, Curve went gold. So that set us off. That was the Mr. Davis project, I believe. And then after that, we went on a run. Gucci is, he produces at a high rate. We were doing like 3 projects a year, 20 plus songs a project.
He's a hard worker.
And so, like I said, I'm thinking the project after that we did was El Gato, the Human Glacier. We did 5 songs one day, 6 songs the other. All songs made it to the project. That was me, Southside, and him in a room, just us 3.
Oh, wow.
And we did 11 songs, 2 days. The whole thing made it to the project. And honestly, I love that project. It didn't like do crazy numbers, but like it bangs.
Yeah.
And so again, I think that was the last test. So okay, you could record these records, but also you could work with the producer, and we could work at a high volume and turn in a quality project. So then that was it. We were going, like I said, 3-4 projects. I've done, I think, a total of 14 projects with Gucci.
Man.
In like a 6-year span or something.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
7-year span, 6 years, I think it was.
Damn.
And then one of the other big record that I was gonna mention that came maybe 2 projects later was Wake Up in the Sky.
Oh, okay. Bruno
like,
Mars and him. Yeah,
it's like 5 times.
And Kodak.
And seeing, I'll tell you a little bit about that record. That record was a real basic like beat. It was produced by D.Y. Crazy, which he's a part of of 808 Mafia as well.
Right.
And the beat was, the foundation, but it wasn't a lot of the musicality wasn't there and all that. And Gucci kind of just had an idea. It was like left field for the beat because the beat was heavy 808s and stuff. And he's like, he started singing that melody, and I think I can fly. And so I remember Southside and DY were there, and he kind of called them in to listen to it. And they were kind of like, okay. But it was me and Gucci, we both were like, I was like, I ain't gonna lie, this is hard.
Yeah.
And then he was like, that's what I feel like too.
Yeah.
And then we started brainstorming, and he's like, I'm gonna send it to Bruno. And he sends it to Bruno, and then Bruno's like, hey, send me all the stems and stuff. And then they started doing extra arrangement and stuff, the singing parts and everything, and started editing it up. And then what was crazy is that Bruno was the one that said, who'd be great on this record? Kodak.
Man. Bruno made that up?
Yeah, that was a Bruno decision. And so it was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just all came together. By the time it came back after how Bruno had rearranged things and added the extra production strings and stuff, it was crazy. And then even though you could do all of that stuff, it doesn't necessarily guarantee a hit. So you're still super excited and surprised when it gets the reception it does, Because I've been a part of a lot of big records, and they all feel good. I don't think I've ever really left a studio and said, it was whack.
Wow.
For the most part, you always like
great.
them. You like them, but they don't always hit.
Right.
So, and then there's some that still to this day I feel like, man, I don't know who was tripping, who dropped the ball on that, but that's a hit.
Which one?
Give
me one. Give me one.
I mean, I don't know. No, I don't want to do that. But that was a pleasant surprise, and then that just that what happens is that puts the battery in our back, and that wants, man, let's get back in the studio.
Man,
let's get back in the studio, because you're always kind of rolling the dice where you create. Yeah, exactly. And also it's like an endorphin hit, what I mean? It's like,
that adrenaline rush,
because it reminds you why we're doing this.
Of course,
because a lot of the times you get caught up in the routine of things, and it's deadlines, and it's hours, and your family, and so much stuff. And it will beat you down. So when you do get a success, or you get a hit, or you at least get the approval from the people, from the masses, when they say, "Oh man, that's fire!" You get your fire emojis.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. There's nothing that replaces that.
Of course. But now you're working with a lot more different artists. Like there's a lot of different new artists that you're working with. Rob 49,
yes.
Sexy Red. You've done a couple of records with her.
Yeah.
Talk about working with the newer generation of artists.
It's different. The whole dynamic is different, because a lot of the guys I was working with before are like older than me.
Right.
I was kind of little bro, and now I'm more in the big bro. I ain't allowing the unk talk yet.
We ain't doing the OG talk yet.
I'm in the big bro role now, where I've been there, done that. I like to kind of compare it to like football, where I got championship rings, aka number ones, Grammys, shit like that. Excuse my language. And so now it's kind of like helping out and just kind of having my 2 cents. For the most part, they just send me the records. I do my 1-2, and then I send it back, and then they give me edits, because the newer generation's kind of always on the move now. They're on tour, they're on the road. So for me, they kind of just send it in. But I do have I think my closer relationship was with Rob 49. Rob definitely wants to sit in with me, so we'll go into the studio and sit down together, and it's not much. He just kind of wants to get that feedback.
Right,
and, he wants to say, oh, right there, that thing right there. And, you know, or what do you think? I want to try this, So it's dope, man. And, what's crazy is, and shout out to Say La Vie and Rebel and, Jay and Stan and them over there. Juan Madrid, J1s, shout out to all of them over there, because they got their finger on the pulse right now. They're finding them brand new. And where I don't know who they are. They're just like, hey, we got this new guy. And they kind of send them to me.
Word.
And then all of a sudden, I'll get a call back like, hey, remember that record you mixed? Oh, it's going to be like number 1 in a couple days. And, so, I remember being in the studio and meeting Sexy Red for the first time. I went there because I was working with Rob, but Tay Keith was in the other room, which he does a lot of her production. Tay's my dog. Me and Tay have gone platinum a couple of times on some Gucci stuff and some other records. So Tay's always my guy. So I went to go say what up to him, and he's like, "Yo, stay here. I want you to meet Sexy." And so Sexy comes in, and he's like, "Tell eMIX. This is eMIX. This is Gucci's guy. And he's tell eMIX what's your nickname." And she said, "Big Sexy." He's like, "No, the other one." And she's like, "Oh, female Gucci man."
Oh, yeah?
And
also makes sense.
Right. So the first record they ever gave me was a record she has called Female Gucci Mane. So I mixed that record, and I think that kind of set the tone. A couple records down the line there, I get a record called Ski Yee. And, immediately we had that kind of conversation, like, I think this might be the one. I heard it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, the call and response, the crowd. I said, man, I like this record too. Look, I'm getting goosebumps again.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Because you
do.
always talk about them hits, man.
Oh, man.
And that feeling that you get, you know what I mean? I feel like that's just part of it.
And when that record started, I remember I think the Jets were on Hard Knocks, the HBO special that they have. Mm-hmm. And the guy on the thing, he's like, they're at practice, and he said, man, throw my song on. It was like, what's that? ski. And they started playing it on Hard Knocks. And I said, oh, this is different. This isn't the radio. This isn't streaming. We're in like pop culture now.
Right.
And that was huge. And then, I went on to do Get It Sexy and Hoochie Coochie. And then she got another record coming out right now that I got her next single coming.
Okay.
And then with Rob too, I've appreciated watching him grow because he was one record away from blowing up because he had all the crowds. And whenever he did a show, everybody knew all the lyrics, everything. And then he got his one record just this year, What the Helly.
Yeah, What the Helly.
What the Helly went crazy. And then,
You on that one too?
Yeah, I mixed that record.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, I mixed that record. And then, he attached it. It got attached just by the people to Halliburton with the Indiana Pacers.
Right.
And so as they were progressing through the playoffs to the finals, the record was just getting huger and huger. It's playing on the finals, And so, we would talk amongst each other. We actually had a conversation with Rob. I was sitting in with Rob, and we were okay in the mix on What the Helly before we dropped it, And Rob says, we play the record. We're all bobbing our head. And he says, E, give me your honest opinion. What you think about the record? I said, I love the record. And I ain't gonna lie, I said, I don't know if it's gonna be a big hit, but I said, it's culture. It's a culture record. You're gonna get everybody saying What the Helly.
Oh, yeah. Off rip.
And I told him, and he's like, see, I told you. These guys over here, they don't like the record. And so he was so happy just to have somebody else feel his vibe. He's like, see, yeah. And I said, man, you need to get shirts printed up. He's like, I'm ahead of you already. I got them printing up now. And he knew that this record was gonna make impact. But no, I don't think any of us could have thought it was gonna go that far.
Yeah, I remember. My bad.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember when he was here. He was talking about making the record, and he was talking about how like that last part, he was kind of like questioning, like, oh, I don't know if I want to add that the Eliante, what the Ali, all that. And he ended up just leaving it there, and that's like everybody's favorite part of the song.
That's their favorite part of the song. Everybody, they know it word for word. They know all the names and everything. Yeah. I keep hitting his mic.
Nah, you good?
Total engineer, number 101.
Oh man, so you work with Rob, you work with Big Sexy, but you've also worked with other artists that were coming up and were also making noise. R.I.P. Big Scarr and Enchanting too.
Yeah, yes.
So you work with them as well. Talk about working with them, before they pass.
Man, it's crazy because Enchanting, I think, she's a Libra as well. I think she's on the 15th, which I'm on the 14th. So we had like a connection there. She was born in Germany as well. She was an Army brat as well as I was. So we were always, that was like my little sis. And she was super talented, man, had a great energy. And Big Scarr, man, we used to call him the secret weapon. Because Scarr was so talented. And he had that voice. And it was only a matter of time. I believe he was cousins with Pooh Shiesty.
Okay.
And so, and Pooh had already been the trailblazer,
Right.
He had the Back in Blood record, and so he was on a path of stardom. He was going, and so that's why we called Big Scarr the secret weapon, because he was creeping up right behind him with that Memphis sound.
Right.
And honestly, he lyrically, if you go back to some of his records, I mean, he's just like chopping away. Like his bars are like, bah, 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 and he's like, man, super talented. So, and I like Scarr a lot. I remember when Scarr met me the first time, he's like, I know who you are. You do all the Gucci stuff. I need you to mix everything I do. And so, because a lot of the other guys had their own people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, hey, that's your vibe. But he directly came to me and said, E, I need you to work on my project. So Scarr was my guy. And it's a shame, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame.
Yeah, man. Like I said, rest in peace to them, man. Like 100%. They had a big future and everything ahead of them. And I think it's great that at least you got to get some work in with them and some quality time before all that.
100%,
man. But you've got a lot of other things that are coming up. So let the people know what you're working on now. Besides, we already talked about Ross's album. We talked about Gucci's album.
Yeah.
But like personally, like for you, like what are you working on?
Well, personally, I'm still doing my thing, this mixing thing. I just released Kodak's last single, "I'ma Shoot." So I'm still in that studio right now. That's kind of the main focus, is just making sure that the eMIX brand and the quality is at its highest. I'm still. That's what I tell young engineers as well. Like, I've been in the game so long, I don't take it for granted. I still practice, I still study, I still read. I'm still trying to perfect my craft. So that's first and foremost. Beyond that, it's looking into just branching out, because I've done this. This is going to be my 24th year in September. and it's about just kind of expanding the brand. I've been working a lot more with, getting some more content out there.
Right, because you got the podcast, right?
Yes. So we're gonna fire that back up. You definitely go back and check it out. My first episode was with Ross.
Right.
At Star Island, which was a super dope interview.
Super vibe.
And it was really cool because, it was really us just kind of chopping it up on some cool stuff, reminiscing about just everything, and then just our workflows. But we're gonna crank that up. It kind of took a side step there just because
you're so busy.
I'm getting these calls, man, and I'm getting full on albums, 3 projects at a time.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to, I get calls all the time for getting assistance and stuff like that, but it's so hard for me to have an assistant. So literally I'm doing all of these things like me the whole time, you know what I mean? From top to bottom, editing them, chopping them up, mixing them. So it's a benefit to my clients because full attention. But definitely I got to get to a point where I understand how to expand that. But beyond that, I've been talking to this young man, which is my son over here. He just graduated
shout out to him.
College at NYU for computer engineering and computer science.
All right.
So we've been chopping it up about possibly making some audio plugins and stuff like that. So
dope.
Very early, but I want to say it now so we can record this. And we can look back and say, yo, whenever that happens.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Let the people know what the podcast is called.
The podcast is Sonics with eMIX, and that's Sonics, I think, _ W _ eMIX on IG.
Okay.
And the YouTube channel is also Sonics with eMIX.
That's what's up, man.
And yeah, you can follow me on eMIX 305.
Of course,
and that kind of links up with everything. And I got everything else that I'm working on there as well. And I honestly, I also encourage any producers, artists, or young engineers to hit me in the DM. It's cool,
Yeah, of course.
I don't mind, especially if you catch me on a good day and
Yeah, when you're not doing nothing.
Right. Or if I'm or I'm taking a break or something and I read something, and if you come at me the right way, I have no problem with sharing or helping how I can.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask, man. Like, what's like a day in the life for you? Like, when you hit the studio, like what's like your day-to-day type?
Well, at this point in my career, I got my studio in my house. But I kind of really remind myself to stay militant. Don't get comfortable. Don't get relaxed. So like literally I get up, get something to eat or something, and I head straight to the studio. I'm not chilling. I'm not watching TV. I get to the studio and kind of assess the day and what I got to do. If I got a mix ready, usually I prep all my mixes the night before. So when I get on the board, it's ready to go. All I'm doing is throwing up faders, effects, and stuff like that. Then once that, again, I'm a one-man show, so I'm handling invoices, I'm calling record labels, I'm talking to clients. And then after that, man, I tell him all the time as well, it's when there's an empty space, I'm always trying to fill it with something progressive, proactive. Like, what else can I be doing to kind of push the needle forward, you know what I'm saying? I really don't like downtime. And that's something I've learned from Ross. That's something I've learned with Gucci, because these guys, again, have shown me not only what a work ethic is, but what a work ethic you can attain with a work ethic.
Right.
Because both those guys are very successful, and I've seen them both like go through their daily grind. So it reminds me to, when I'm on my own and I'm building mine, hey man, take a break for what?
Yeah.
Plus we're living a dream,
Exactly.
We work to get here, so why would I want to take a break from the dream?
Right.
You know what
Especially when you love what you do, man.
100%.
That's the most important thing. But that's what's up, man. Yo, it was an honor to talk to you about all this, man.
I appreciate
Just
you.
to be able to be in the same room with you and be able to chop it up about what you do is really dope to me, and it's really why I like to do this, man. Like, I had a conversation the other day, like, why don't you get more into the music part of the industry and do something like producing or whatever. I'm like, yo, like, honestly, like my passion is telling the stories of what musicians do. Mm-hmm. So like, hearing everything that you're doing and how you're benefiting, and even your day-to-day, like being able to tell those stories is what makes me happy. So dope. To be able to do that for you, man, like it's an honor, bro.
No, I appreciate it.
Again, let the people know where they can find you, how they can connect with you.
Yeah, definitely on Instagram is probably the easiest way. eMIX 305. And again, I got Sonics _W_ with Sonics _W_ eMIX. And yeah, man, that's the two best places. I have my website. It's also linked on my Instagram. But if you need it, it's thespectrumtheory.com. And, that got, my my credit list and all that and the things I do. And you can also contact me there via email as well if you need to get a hold of me.
That's what's up, man. And you already know who this is, Tony MC. You can follow me at _Tony MC. Thank you for coming by, eMIX.
And before Amani, let's get him his courtesy of MMG, courtesy of eMIX.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And courtesy of Lex Promo.
Oh yeah, shout out to all them people. That's my guys.
This is the brand new Ross collab with
man.
R22.
That's what's up.
You
Yes.
Open up the plastic.
Yeah, shout out to Ross. Shout out to Edition 22.
You know what I mean? They
Yes,
knew I was
sir.
coming down here, and we said we got to bless the squad.
Oh yeah. All right.
You know, now you got something to put your,
That's
your
what's
razor
up.
when you travel.
Yeah, the toiletry bag. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, you got the whole thing.
That's the dust
little
bag for it.
Okay. That's what's up, man. Yo, I appreciate it, man.
Nah,
Thank you,
you
man.
know, we
You already know.
appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
of course, bro. Thank you, man. Well, you already know who this is, man. Yo, shout out to eMIX for coming through and follow us all on social media, man. Peace.
Peace.